So I'm going to replay the clips from my phone call with Councillor Mark Tijssen, and then we'll get right to it.
Instead, there was a consequences meeting today, and I walked out. Because I'm not holding a consequences meeting or being party to even discussing consequences to a report that I don't believe is accurate to start with. And the interesting thing out of that report is there's only one person out of 5 that was completely exonerated. And that's the one who just quit.
That's crazy.
I'm the only person who was totally exonerated by that report. In spite of the fact that I was 50% of who the report was levied at. So, Deputy Mayor Gerrits and Councillor Little want to show us how they can fix the problems that they've been party to creating. I want to see it. But I cannot have a knot in my stomach every single time, every single council meeting going to work with those two people. I cannot do it. They want to show us what they can do. The keys are theirs. But they're the two that helped drive it in the ditch in the first place. So it'll be interesting. They're working about harassment. There's harassment in Amaranth, all right. Quite frankly, our code of conduct that those two like to bring up and like to hoist up the code of conduct, withholding information that you require to do your job is right there in black and white in the code of conduct. And if withholding $800,000 on a $4 million budget isn't withholding information that's critical to doing your job and withholding it for what, 6 months? 3 budget meetings right into the budget. Our CAO at the time flat out, it's just, and the mess that is Amaranth and the mess that we inherited from previous councils, which would be $5.3 million in infrastructure deficit, reserves that have been tapped out to zero, budget errors. I don't even know where to start to solve it. I don't even know where I would start to solve it. And I'm a solutions guy.
Yeah.
And I'm a solutions guy with a fair skill inventory, and I don't even know where I would start to solve it. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the mayor. He's not perfect, but he's one of the hardest working people I know. And he's 80, and he's one of the hardest working people for this township that I know. He works nights, he works weekends, he works days to try to bring development, bring prosperity to Amaranth. And quite frankly, I can't believe that he can tolerate it because, and I told him, he's a better man than I am. He's not perfect, Josh, he's not perfect, but he is very, very hardworking, and his heart is in the right place. And trying to do the work that has to be done in the face of in the face of the nastiness that is every council meeting, and it's not the mayor. The truth is, I didn't cause this mess, and I'm not going to fix it when I have a knot in my gut going into every single meeting.
That's one thing I definitely got out of the council meetings I've been listening to, is that you are a problem solver, and that's really been your intention this entire time that I've gathered. And I think that's been pretty evident. I mean, I've only been listening for a little while, but I mean, that is something that's been made quite clear to me, is that you are a problem solver, and that is your intention. And
that's what I did for a living. That's what I do, is solve problems. This one, solving it in this type of an environment, and it's a challenging environment because no one is clearly in charge in a municipal environment.
Yeah.
But it also means in an environment like this, everybody has to play reasonably nicely and all attempt to be productive. As soon as people are playing, we've been fighting the 2022 election campaign from January of 2019. And in a municipal environment, that makes for a very, very, very unpleasant work environment.
So as you heard, Councillor Mark Tijssen announced that he's resigning from Amaranth's council, as he claims there is a sustained campaign of harassment against the mayor by some of his fellow councillors. This was shortly followed by a post from Deputy Mayor Gerrits claiming that Mayor Bob Currie intends to resign as well. So what's going on? Hi, I'm Josh MacEwen with Dufferin News, and I'm sorry it took me so long to get this out. News kept coming in, and I needed to get as complete of a picture as possible, and I'll admit, it's still not that complete. But anyways, this morning I was listening to Amaranth's council, the council meeting, and which I lost access to, but as soon as I got reconnected through my phone, I received a call, and it was Councillor Tijssen, which is the conversation where those clips I just played came from. I had no idea what was going on, as there was a brief argument at the beginning of council regarding the consequences meeting that Councillor Tijssen was referring to, which relates to a workplace harassment report involving Currie. The audio was particularly bad at this council meeting, and they immediately went into closed session, so I don't have too much to share from beyond what Tijssen stated in the audio. But after talking to Deputy Mayor Gerrits, the rest of the meeting went relatively smoothing until Currie made his alleged announcement, which I'll get to soon. So this consequences meeting is a result of a report produced by an independent investigator that the Ministry of Labour ordered the Township of Amaranth to hire. This report was accompanied by a legal opinion that contained some recommendations, one of which was to revoke the powers of the mayor and to restrict Currie from going to the township office. On August 12th, Councillor Gail Little tried to make this happen through a motion, but was defeated in a split vote with Councillor Tijssen and Councillor Heather Foster voting against it. Mayor Currie abstained as this was obviously a conflict of interest for him. Currie, Tijssen, and Foster then voted in favor of a motion to request a meeting with those involved in forming the legal opinion, in addition to the Ministry of Labour and the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. Now, according to Tijssen, and as you heard in the clips, he considers this report to be deeply flawed and that council shouldn't proceed with consequences until the meeting regarding the legal opinion and report occurs. He also claimed to be the only council member that was completely exonerated by the report. Again, this was a closed meeting, so I don't have much details beyond what was shared to me. So as a result of the consequences taking place before the report and what he calls a sustained campaign of harassment against the mayor by other council members, he resigned. As you heard, and what's been reported, is that there have been some significant financial concerns when it comes to the Township of Amaranth, and Tijssen no longer feels like he is equipped to solve these problems given the work environment. So here's a clip of Deputy Mayor Gerrits describing the remainder of the council meeting after Councillor Tijssen left, along with what led to Mayor Currie's alleged announcement of his intentions to resign.
I don't know, it was so completely out of the blue. We were, after Councillor Tijssen left this morning, Bob came back and said he received a call that Mark was resigning, and the rest of the meeting was quite civil. We didn't argue about anything, and then just right near the end, like he was running out of time, he just went on this little rant. So I don't know if he was waiting for for a contentious issue to come up to make a big statement. That never happened, but so that's what he did. He took his papers and left.
Deputy Mayor Gerrits went on to say that it could be posturing, from the mayor, and he wouldn't be surprised if the mayor actually showed up to the next meeting like nothing happened. Deputy Mayor Gerrits went on to say that it could be posturing from the mayor, and he wouldn't be surprised if the mayor showed up to the next council meeting like nothing happened. I spoke with Mayor Currie myself this evening, or last night, and after doing so, this is quite likely to be the case. He said I should talk to whoever told me he was resigning, which doesn't sound like someone who is standing behind his words. Seems like a lot of politics going on, and it will be interesting to see where it goes. I'll do my best to keep you updated and get the answers that I can. But what I want to do is say big thanks to Mark Tijssen for letting Dufferin News know first. He supported local today instead of some big corporation like Rogers, Torstar, or some other out-of-towner like many of the other politicians in Dufferin do. I can appreciate that big time. It's nice to see that support local is more than just a slogan. So thank you, Mark Tijssen, and I wish you all the best in your next steps. And I hope you and your family are able to transition smoothly. As far as finding a replacement goes, from what I gathered from talking to Deputy Mayor Gerrits, this will require further discussion at council, but there seems to be plenty of options, so stay tuned. And speaking of Deputy Mayor Gerrits, I'd like to thank him for his time and for expressing his appreciation for what we do here at Dufferin News. Amaranth doesn't get enough positive attention in the press, and I'd be a liar if I said that Dufferin News has done a good job with this too, or at least a good enough job. So with that, if you haven't checked out our clips from Amaranth's last town council meeting, you should. It's on the Dufferin News YouTube channel. You'll hear Deputy Mayor Gerrits fighting for an Amaranth to form a diversity and inclusion committee. He experienced plenty of resistance, and it may even cost him personally, financially, but he succeeded. Tijssen may be a problem solver, which I stated in the clips, but Gerrits is a fighter, and it's nice to see that in politics, especially when that politician is fighting for underrepresented and vulnerable groups. As far as Mayor Currie goes, we'll have to see. Even if he chooses not to resign, he's less protected. I'm Josh MacEwen with Dufferin News, and until next time, have a great one. Thanks.